Hey there everybody, and today I want to talk to you about different ways you can ask someone about their mental health. Hey there everyone, my name's Dave, aka Mindset by Dave, and I've been a mindset and mental health coach for the last 4 years, as well as living my entire life with type 2 bipolar disorder, coming at mental health from both a personal and a professional standpoint. As well as these videos, I also stream live on twitch.tv/mindsetbydave every Tuesday from 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. where I run a mental health drop-in chat, and every Sunday from 7 p.m. until 10 p.m. I'd love to have you as part of the community down there where we're talking about mental health all the time. So anyway, on with the content. So you may find yourself in a position where you want to be more supportive of the mental health of those around you, whether that is friends, family, or colleagues. And through my work of working with people both individually on a one-to-one basis and then in group sessions like in schools or businesses, I've come to see that there are a few different ways that you can get that conversation going. And I want to talk today about 3 different ways we can do that. Number 1, direct questions. Number 2, offerings. And number 3, indirect questions. So direct questions. The most obvious one is, how are you doing? But let's face it, we all have a stock answer. Yeah, I'm all right. How about you? Or I'm fine. Thanks for asking. We have a stock answer because we ask that question all the time. And as a result, we're very well rehearsed in how to deal with it. So one of the big pieces of advice there is to ask twice and say to a person, no, how are you really doing? Because we've not heard that one as much. Therefore, it actually gets past that initial defense mechanism and may get us to open up about something that is just hiding below the surface. Often a person who's struggling with mental health will actually feel like they don't matter or that no one notices them. So a great way of actually getting into a direct question, which can help a person feel validated first, is by saying that you've noticed something, you've noticed a change in their behaviour. That could take the form of something like, I noticed that you've not been yourself recently. Is there any reason for that? Direct questions are good because they get straight to the point, but we want to basically make sure that we do them with an empathetic tone, and we want to use our body language effectively too. And if these direct questions help get you somewhere, then just simply saying, could you tell me a bit more about that, can be a way to keep that conversation going. Number 2 is an offering. An offering is where you basically put your feelings out there first as a way to invite another person to open up. Oftentimes when people give talks, it can be one of the most empowering things because when one person opens up about their own mental health, it normalizes the conversation. It also displays that person probably in a position of strength rather than a position of weakness. The person that we're trying to get to open up may be thinking of themselves as weak for having these problems in the first place. But if you actually open up about how you're feeling first, this can actually flip the script on that situation and get the person feeling more comfortable to open up too. So this might look a lot like you saying, well, recently I've had a lot on, and when I get a lot on from time to time, I can find myself getting quite frustrated or even angry. Is that something that you can relate to? The person that is experiencing the mental health difficulty might think that it's not okay to be the way they are, to feel the way they are. But by you showing that you feel that way as well, it gives that person permission to then open up. Now, an important distinction to make when we do the comparison thing is it's a great way to get a conversation started, but it's often counterproductive in keeping a conversation going. Throughout their story, if the person is talking and telling you their story, then by jumping in with comparisons in that situation, we can often shut the whole thing down because it makes the person feel like they're not being listened to. Once the person is talking, let them talk, let them finish their story. And you might use a comparison to get the conversation going again later on, but while they're already opening up, don't compare. It's a bit of a funny tool, the comparison, because obviously it can be useful in certain situations, but in other situations it can be the exact opposite. And number 3, indirect questions. This is one to use when the person's not being communicative at all. And the questions we would ask in this situation are not related to mental health at all. They are just essentially an icebreaker, a way to get the conversation moving. You've probably seen it yourself where you actually start talking about one thing, a person doesn't necessarily open up about that and is shut off. Talk about something completely different, and then once the conversation's flowing a little bit more, the person's anxiety subsides or the person feels a little bit more comfortable in that conversation, so they start opening up about all kinds of other things. These type of questions can be completely and utterly innocuous, like what films have you seen recently, or what's your favourite game of all time, or what food you like, or what restaurants have you been to. just getting a person talking to start off with, and then again, once the words are flowing, then you slowly start to move the conversations more towards those direct questions, or maybe even those offering questions. A great way of using this is often without even using a question, where you offer an opinion. So if you know that this particular person is passionate about a certain subject, whether that is football or films, you offer an opinion that you know is kind of going to be a little bit contrary to what they believe. Now, when that happens, even a person that is struggling with their mental health will often not be able to resist the opportunity to jump in and talk about that thing, especially when it is something that they're truly passionate about. So you might say something ludicrous like, I think the Hulk could beat Superman in an arm wrestling competition. And that just, if this person is a comic book fan, particularly if this person's more of a DC fan than a Marvel fan, this person's probably not going to be able to resist that. This isn't going to get you directly into a mental health conversation, but ultimately what it's going to do is it's going to loosen things up within the conversation, allowing you to move to more sensitive topics. As a final note, you can obviously use all of these things in combination, and usually you're probably going to be going from number 3 to number 1. So you'd have the innocuous conversation first. Once things are going, then you actually use the offering. You kind of throw yourself under the bus, so to speak, and once the offering's there, you can then move into a more direct question. Using these things in this sort of order is kind of like giving the person a warm up into the conversation before they actually get to the heavier stuff, which might be a lot more difficult to talk about. Obviously, these are just some of my own suggestions, and you can actually find all of these questions in a PDF below. If you've got a question that you think is really useful for getting a person talking about their mental health, drop it in the comments, and if we like it, we'll add it into that document, and over time we can put together a list of questions that can give people ideas on how to talk, communicate, and get people to open up about their mental health. As always, I hope you've enjoyed the content, and if you have, please hit that subscribe button and maybe even turn on those notifications so you can be told every time a piece of content like this goes live. It is priceless for you, but it is priceless for me. And I would love to have you as part of our Twitch community if you want to talk about these things live. Remember, that is Sunday night at 7 p.m. till 10 p.m. UK time, and Tuesday daytime at 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. I'd love to see you down there.